So during Victims and Survivors of Crime Week, I want to shine a light on the fact that people with intellectual disabilities are particularly vulnerable to being victims of crime, specifically to being victims of crimes of a sexual nature, sexual violence, abuse, and exploitation. A few statistics. So in Canada, girls and women with intellectual disabilities are up to 10 times more likely to be victims of sexual violence than the general population. For boys and men, it's 4 to 10 times more likely. Put another way, before the age of 18, between 40 and 70% of girls and women with intellectual disabilities will have been a victim of sexual violence. And fewer than 4% of these crimes are reported, and even fewer again lead to charges. We should be concerned about this. There's lots of reasons for this increased risk. We don't recognize the signs of abuse in people who don't communicate verbally, that individuals in the legal system and our systems in general are not equipped to support people with disabilities or to support difference at all. But a primary reason for this is the lack of access to accurate, timely, and appropriate sexual education for people with intellectual disabilities. When we treat people with disabilities as children, when we deny their full humanity, and particularly their sexuality, we not only limit their potential for growth and development, but we put them at real risk for physical and emotional harm. Accurate sexual education means that people know the names of all their body parts, that they know what touch is okay and what touch is not, so that when they report abuse, they can be more easily understood by others. Appropriate sexual education means that we teach people non-compliance. We help them understand that they have the right to say no, and we give them the tools to do that firmly and confidently and repeatedly. Access to appropriate sexual education is a right. It is enshrined in the Canadian Human Rights Act, in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and most recently in the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And if we are concerned about protecting the rights of all of our citizens, particularly those who are vulnerable to be marginalized, then we ought to be concerned about giving people with intellectual disabilities every tool possible to keep them safe and secure from all forms of crime, especially crimes of a sexual nature.